welcome to the CodeFuse demo. First of all, we're going to sign in. CodeFuse works on a basis of applications and configurations. So to begin with, we'll add a new application. We'll give it a configuration just for the purposes of this demo. We're going to pretend that we are testing the bbc.co.uk website. So I'm going to add that here as a URL. Now, we can move to the requirements section where we can add some stories. Now, you don't need to add stories, but it's a good way of tracking your coverage for your project. So we're just going to add a story here about news link works correctly. Now below the story you can add acceptance criteria. So with our example in this test, we're going to make sure the default tab text is top stories. So save that. Now we're going to link a story to that piece of acceptance criteria. So we'll just call this test top stories test 1. So now we can move to the test tab. Now in CodeFuse, tests are created from blocks of steps called step sets. And the quickest way to create a step set is using our test assistant. So we'll click here. And by default this has gone to the bbc.co.uk website. So first of all, we just need to create a new step set called, let's say, BBC homepage news clip. So we've created that step set. Now, just to make sure we've started in the right place, what we're going to do is just validate that the BBC logo appears. So CodeFuse has got many different test actions that can be used. So we're going to use object exists. Now we need to, I've used the right click on BBC there, the BBC logo. So when I say spy object and enter a name for it, that's going to create a new object for the test to use. So behind the scenes it's created an object with an XPath, CSS path and object ID if it's available. So we can save that step. And there it goes. And the next step we want to do is just click on the news link. So we can say object.click. But we also need to create this new news object. So click, and so the system's now recorded a new step with the new object information. Now when we click on the news, we go to this page and we just want to have a new step set created to, let's say, check news page header. So we'll create a new step set and we're just going to add one new step that says we're going to make sure that this object exists, and we'll call this BBC News Header tab default. So we've created that object now. What we'll actually do is make this a textbox.validate, so we can check that the text included in this tab is actually top stories. So that's the text of the data item. We've got to give the data item a name. We'll save that step. And that's this example test complete. We've got 2 test steps which operate on the BBC homepage and the BBC News page. So we can return to the main console now, refresh that screen, and you can see the 2 new step sets that we created. Now there are 2 ways to build tests in CodeFuse. One is to use the test grid screen, where we've already got a test there because we created it on the requirement screen. That's just a blank test at the moment. There's also the test builder, which I won't use today because there's a separate video on the website which goes into a lot more detail around the test builder, and you can create tests visually. So if we open up the test grid, we can say add an existing step set. So we want to start on the home page, we'll link that. So here is a test containing our two step sets. Next, we just need to schedule that test. So let's click on the schedule button. On the schedule screen, you can see selections for suites, which we also have on a separate video, and the scheduler. Before we schedule the test though, we're just going to switch to the application and configuration that we specified our bbc.co.uk URL in. So when we go to the scheduler, we only have the 1 test here, we'll add that, and we'll run the test against Windows 7 Chrome latest version, which is the default in CodeFuse. So we click the Run Schedule button, you get a success prompt, and we can now go across to the pending test screen, where you can see the test, and we can watch it complete. Now the test is completed, we can take a look at the actual test results. So each CodeFuse test is run as a part of a batch. There's an individual test suite, and then we can go through and see that each of the steps within the 2 step sets has passed. You can also watch a video of the test running. Finally, we can take a look at the report screen. So for this test account, this screen looks very straightforward. But we've got a report on the best tests with return on investment, the pass-fail error ratio, failed tests against operating systems, browsers and browser versions. We don't have any failures. And again, we don't have any failures against different applications and configurations because we've only run 1 test which has passed. So I hope that gives you a good overview of CodeFuse. I hope this has been an interesting video for you. Thank you.